I want my baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back. Alright, enough with the product placement. This is 10 pieces of bad advice for upcoming baby bits. Don't be a fucking junkie. You can be an interesting person. You can be a psychonaut. You can have visions. You can be an artist. And you can do all that without being addicted to anything. Cigarettes are the most useless thing you could possibly be addicted to. I was addicted to them for 15 years. And now it's 21. The legal age is 21. And it's best to not even start. Alcohol, it might make you a little bit more social when you're 21, but it's easy to go down, the road to addiction with that. I spent the most of my 20s drunk, and believe me, it's a very depressing reality if you don't handle other things in life, and if you're spending all your money drinking or doing any drugs like that. The same with marijuana. It might make you a little creative or whatever, but and all the rappers rap about smoking weed and it's cool and all that, blah blah blah, but that doesn't matter if you're not reading books or you're not intelligent about anything anyway. Like, it's not going to make you interesting. There's no rule that anybody has to respect you for who you are, what music, what clothes you wear and all this. If people are bullying you or whatever, well, just understand that it's not necessary for human survival for anyone to be goth or to like metal or to listen to industrial or any of this. It's not necessary for human survival. It's not one of the core essential things. And there's a wider world out there. There's a greater culture beyond anything you've seen in America or anything else. Um, Getting in touch with your heritage or getting in touch with the artistic movements around the world that aren't gothic or anything. These are interesting things as well, and the more you know, the more well-rounded you are as a person. You realize that the only reason the music media called the 80s post-punk goth music is because it had a similar feel to it as the older gothic art forms, hundreds of years previous. And anyone who says it's only post punk in the 80s is just uncultured in general. And, you know, that's where it becomes maybe very popularized, but don't limit yourself into this box of where you can only consider this one decade or two in one um, century as being goth or whatever. It's just, it limits you, and eventually it can become very vacuous. Some of you don't realize how beautiful somebody can look while wearing very simple black clothing. There's no reason to be completely caked in makeup and have everything on, all the different trinkets and every ridiculously expensive dress. And also, at times in life, there are good times to splurge and be excessive, such as maybe buying a bunch of records when you have money and you've earned the ability in life to buy records comfortably on your budget or whatever. Like, just be smart about it. There's no reason to go overboard, and there are times where going overboard is fun. Read a motherfucking book. Don't be an idiot. Don't be a loser. Don't be a junkie. Read. Read Gothic literature. Read any literature. Just read history. Read philosophy. Don't limit your mental capacity by some, generic term like goth or whatever. In goth, people tend to deal with subject matter that's not always easy to approach for the average person. And the more and more you go into the depths of, say, the occult, philosophy, history, and, the ways in which one can create, a person gains unique viewpoints that not everyone has. And if you use this way of thinking in everyday life, you can be unique in other aspects of life as well. And this can only benefit you where it's practical. Don't be afraid to be a chameleon. Someone like myself listens to pretty much every style of music ever created. And, I don't necessarily like all of them, but I've heard hundreds of styles over the years. And so I can understand why people wear a fashion or this or that. And the more adaptable you are to the greater society, the better off you'll be in creating a comfortable life for yourself in which you can express yourself in meaningful ways and focus your creative abilities on meaningful tasks. And don't think that you necessarily have to look goth all the time. Don't be so concerned if people they don't understand you. But if you understand them, that gives you an advantage because then you can be them, but they cannot be you. Just think of it that way, and don't limit yourself. Again, Dada is anti-Dada. Even anti-art is art, and that is why we reject it. Don't be too serious. Don't think that goth is infallible. It has its flaws. The fashion has flaws. The mentality has flaws. It's not a perfect thing, and you shouldn't be so defensive all the time or play the victim all the time. See, the occult is interesting, but as you see in all this Killstar fashion, wearing it outright like that, it's probably not gonna go over well in public all the time. And none of the serious occultists wore shit like this around in public. The serious occultists, you probably don't know that they're an occultist. They're not wearing all these symbols around that, of course, these kids here, they don't know what the symbols even mean. It's just trendy to wear the symbols. It's you're supposed to understand these symbols internally, and I'll make a video about this eventually. But it's not something you flash around as a status symbol. It's something that you internalize and you use it to focus your will towards what you want in life. There are more important things in life than goth. Don't let it define you. Don't let it be the only aspect that controls your psychology. Being in love is important. Eating, finding some work that won't make you absolutely crazy. Perhaps even doing further things like eventually getting your own land and growing your own food or something like that. There are more important things than this fashion and music and all this. That stuff is all secondary. That stuff is all something to enhance life.